Okay, let me get this out of the way in the first bit here. That no call on Devin Booker, there were actually two of them, but especially the first one, was all time bad by the refs. Suns fans, you don't get to complain about anything for the rest of this series. Luckily, it was still a Bucks win because if that was a loss with Booker playing the last couple minutes when he had no business doing it, that would have been some real controversy. Anyway, we've got a 2-2 series going back to Phoenix for a game 5. That game was amazing, besides, that. And to me, the thing you look at is the Bucks defense. There were some specific plays. One where Giannis switched onto CP and CP dribbled the ball off of his foot. Giannis stripped him, something like that. You had Giannis steal that inbound pass that was supposed to go to, I want to say it was DeAndre Ayton. I could be messing up the player. But that was a dunk for Giannis. And then you had the insane block by Giannis on that Ayton alley-oop where it was like he came from out of nowhere, even though he was underneath the basket. It was insane. Giannis might be the only player in the league who could pull that play off. And I know I'm just signaling Giannis plays specifically, but it was a whole team thing. And Drew picking up CP, whether it's full court or at least at half court, and the drop defense was really effective against Chris Paul tonight. I mean, sure, CP can just say, well, I was making those shots earlier and he's super comfortable from those spots, but the Bucks just play the percentages of like, if we just continuously don't allow you to get to the rim and we switch on stuff and we drop on stuff and you just have to constantly take jump shots and we're going to wear you down with just having somebody on you at all times, you're going to miss a couple extra ones. And that ended up being huge for them in this one. They also had Ayton taking, I'll get to Booker eventually. I know he was amazing. But they also switched on to Ayton and then collapsed onto him well enough to where he either had to pass it out or the shot he would end up taking was like a hook shot that, still not a bad percentage shot for him, especially against a switch. But again, it's better than a dunk or fouling him. And then we get to Devin Booker. The defense on Booker, to me, was actually pretty good. I mean, the Suns, they ran the curl stuff with him to get him a little bit more action off the ball, and that led to him just being in rhythm when he took a lot of his mid-rangers. He, of course, made a whole bunch of contested jumpers, over Pat Connaughton. There was that one, I think it was a long two that looked like a three in the moment. He had a bunch of turnaround jumpers over Connaughton, Drew, whatever it is. But I think the Bucks defense overall, even if there were some like occasional really bad miscommunications, especially in the first half, got them this win. The other thing was the possession battle. They won it going away. I mean, they had so many more offensive rebounds, and that's with Giannis, Bobby Portis, PJ Tucker, Pat Connaughton, Brook Lopez, if I didn't mention him. And the turnovers. They forced a lot of turnovers from the Suns in this one. I think, pressuring CP so much was the beginning of that. I mean, I'm not smart enough to recognize everything that's happening on defense in a play, but if you just compare what happened in game 1 with CP just comfortably walking into mid-rangers with Brook Lopez switched onto him versus here where it's Drew picking him up early in possessions, it just looks completely different. And when they do switch, it's mainly for Giannis, and they made it to where when they did the switch, it would be PJ Tucker switching onto DeAndre Ayton, which is still a size advantage for the Suns, but you can live with it, right, if you're the Bucks. And then as for the Bucks offense, I mean, they went back to the Giannis screening mainly in the second half. I mean, there was that one Giannis play that he ran with Connaughton, which resulted in an open three for Connaughton because CP was a little late on the closeout. We had a lot of the normal Giannis stuff, which is just his mere existence being enough for him to generate 20-something points a game. I mean, he didn't have to go Superman, and a lot of that was because Middleton busted out some really good ISOs. I mean, I remember that one on Crowder in the first half, but Middleton also benefited a lot from the Giannis screens as well. I mean, there was like the one pull-up jumper on DeAndre Ayton later in the game that was big. To be honest, I don't remember all of Middleton's makes, but I know a lot of them were huge. He had one where it was, I think it was off of an offensive rebound on an initial possession that didn't really do much for the Bucks that took the Suns' lead from 7-4 or whatever it was. I mean, a lot of this, again, was a play that was kind of clunky, whether it's a Drew Holiday missed layup or somebody misses a three or whatever. somebody on the Bucks, Giannis, Bobby Portis, whoever, gets the offensive rebound, kick out to an open shooter. If that's how it's got to be, then that's how it's got to be. I mean, we can talk about the Bucks and their offense and how it sometimes looks too stagnant and Drew Holiday's missing shots. And, I mean, PJ Tucker barely shot the ball in this game. I'm pretty sure he had 0 points. But if you just overwhelmingly win the possession battle, it starts to not matter, especially if Giannis can keep generating all the trips to the free throw line. And yeah, now it should be said, DeAndre Ayton was not in foul trouble in this game, so they could put their biggest guy on Giannis, and I do think that made a difference. I mean, when Crowder's on him, things come a little bit easier for him. I don't know if the Suns really solved anything with Giannis per se. I mean, they did bring extra attention onto him. I do think that happened tonight. They did have that zone throughout parts of the game. They eventually went back to man-to-man. And I think the question for them now is how aggressive do they want to get at not guarding other dudes? I mean, I mentioned again, PJ Tucker, 0 points, but he had offensive rebounds. Brook Lopez had one cut play that was really good when they were not guarding him. So it's always going to be a push and pull chess match of how aggressive do you want to be at completely ignoring other dudes, and then how can the Bucks take advantage of that, besides just hoping that dudes make shots. So we'll see. The other thing, though, is when you think about these offensive rebounds that the Bucks are grabbing, I don't know what the Suns can really do to counter that. I mean, this is what they've done all season. They go 4 perimeter guys around DeAndre Ayton, and I highly doubt they're going to try Kaminsky and Ayton out there, so it's just going to have to be a group thing, but you can try as hard as you want. It's just like, look, man, Giannis is 7 feet, and he's usually playing with another 7-footer. And even then, Connaughton attacks the glass, PJ Tucker does as well. But that's the biggest thing. I mean, if the Suns control the boards in this game, they win, I would imagine. I mean, it's impossible to really know. So we'll see. Again, the Bucks offense did not look great in the first half, whether that was simply not going to Giannis enough or Drew just taking too many shots or the Suns loading up inside a lot to where Giannis just couldn't do whatever he wanted to. It's probably a mix of all of that. And so we'll just see if Phoenix can lean more into it, but they're going to need more than just hoping Devin Booker makes tough shots all day. I mean, if the Bucks are going to keep wearing down on CP, and if DeAndre Ayton's not going to be able to kill him all day when they switch on to him, or if the Suns aren't going to look his way enough, then it's going to be tough. I mean, if you look, the Bucks, they've got a size advantage, and the thing with them, they're kind of similar to the Lakers a little bit last year in the sense of, like, yeah, Giannis is huge, but he can stick around against anybody. It's kind of similar to LeBron. Like, that was partly why it made the Lakers so good. It's like, you want to go small against us? Okay. We can still hang with you athletically, and we're still bigger than you. So we'll see. The other thing, too, is I feel like Brook Lopez is doing a pretty damn good job in pick and roll coverage. Now, as I say that, maybe you could dig up film of him actually getting torched tonight, but I feel like he's doing an okay enough job hanging out there, and him and Portis have this good thing going on where they give you something different, but they both kind of work. Anyway, my prediction, I mean, I picked Bucks in 6, so I'm going to pick the Bucks in 6. I think the Bucks will win in Phoenix. They'll come back to Milwaukee and win. Not that I have any confidence in that, but that's where I'm going.